Hey, it's Red Summer.
Hey, it's Hanifa Walida.
We are your gay aunties. I am trying out some new things right now, children. And your aunties are always working to make things
Wait,
better
wait,
for
wait.
you.
Ooh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about y'all up in YouTube land. We got started over because Auntie Hanifa did not press record. All right, can we do that again?
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to make happen, and it kept giving me another error message.
Okay, no, well, this episode don't start till we get this recording going because that's the whole point.
Everything else is, it says it's working, and then when I click record, it says error opening recording device.
Uh, uh,
Yeah, it's just
okay,
so
is it keep
sweet.
doing
I
it?
closed out Audacity and opened it back up and did all that good stuff, and y'all were like, "Go, go
Okay. Okay, well, we still going. The people just gonna have to see what's happening on the back end, but we are determined to bring crystal clear audio to people. So this show ain't gonna start until Red's Audacity works. I'm dead ass fucking serious.
ahead."
If you got to start your whole fucking computer over, yo, like,
Yeah, I closed out the recording. I'm opening that back up.
and then check all your preferences.
hmm It was literally just working. Like,
Y'all, we hugged up on our modems. Make sure we're in
yeah.
close proximity to the modems. We are now recording via Audacity and YouTube Live. All of these octopusy arms are in sway in the air because why? Because just like you, we're tired of shitty audio on your gay aunties.
Absolutely.
Those of you who have been with us from the beginning know the struggle. And you probably had been wondering, aunties, when y'all gonna get your shit together? Love your aunties, but y'all can't be playing this old Gen X. What the fuck is up with technology BS? You need some help, aunties?
We do actually. I mean, if you want to bring it up now.
And we have tried every app out there. I forgot the first one. What was one? The purple and white one? What was that? What
Oh
was it called?
yeah,
It was
I
called
remember.
something. Then we got on Squadcast, or then we get something else, and then we got on Squadcast, and then we got on YouTube, all with the attempt to try and get better audio because if you were a sixth episode or seventh, that me and Red live in two different locations. So we had been at the mercy of our audio coming through the internet connection, thus all of the issues we've had. But we have been determined, because inspired by you all supporting us, determined to get this right. Okay? That's what we are doing. Gosh
All
darn it.
right. Well, I am up and running, so I'm ready to go.
Okay, okay. So let me press record. Let me press record, and we're gonna do the 5 clips so Kiara know where to edit. Okay.
Okay.
All right, ready and okay.
All right. Welcome back. I am Red Summer,
And I am Hanifa Walida.
and we are your gay aunties. Hey, babies.
Hey, darling. Hey,
To
darling.
those of you all who are just joining us, we just want you to know that Your Gay Aunties is a weekly podcast that is centered around queer adulting. So if you want Auntie Hanifa and I to answer any questions that you have about life, love, or anything else in your good gay life, go ahead and send us a letter at yourgayaunties@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram or Twitter at Your Gay Aunties. And then every Sunday, we go live on YouTube. So subscribe, subscribe, subscribe so that you can be a part of the show.
Yes, darlings. How y'all doing? This is Auntie Hanifa, and you guys are always a part of our show as we all live this crazy time that we're in. We're doing it together, and
Yes.
so we just like to incorporate you guys onto our show. Like when you give us wonderful reviews, like who? And you guys have incredible usernames, which Auntie Hanifa
Meg.
can never pronounce. All right, Megs M.
Hmm.
Megs M. Love the aunties. Megs M says, relatable, funny, dated. What you mean dated? Okay, dated is like relative. Okay, okay. Let's break down the dated, but they put LOL too, so we know. Some of y'all think we dated, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Mhm.
Anyway, dated, relevant, in black like I love it. I needed this when I was a little gay bud. The community is lucky to have y'all. Thank you, Meg. Like it's these kinds of reviews that really keep us going and determined to get our sound correct. So, if you want to be a part of our show, there's so many ways to do so, and one of the ways is writing a review for us on iTunes because that helps our ratings and all of that. Or you can actually be featured on the show, like your voice. You can speak your truth. This is an area where you guys can reach out to us. You can write letters via Speak Your Truth, but you also can review us. Just click on the link in our IG bio. You'll see a big old button there called Speak Your Truth, and then you can record it and we'll feature you on the show. Boom.
Yes,
Boom.
wonderful.
I know.
Well, on Wednesday evenings, we have started something that I'm really enjoying. It's called Auntie Red's Tweet Tea.
Tweet tea, tweet tea, tweet tea.
And basically, we go on to Twitter and we answer questions from you. So maybe you don't have a long, drawn out letter that you want to send to us, but you just have a quick question that you want to ask. You just go ahead and send those any way that you normally would to yourgayaunties at gmail.com. You can inbox us or email us or DM us on all of the other platforms. We are there. We read everything you send us. So send us your questions for that, and then we answer them live on Twitter. So this week we got a question that said, when you were younger, did you have a type? Did it change over time? Is your wife your type?
Ooh, in your what? Damn. We didn't say that for a letter.
I know. We should definitely go into this later. This is one that we can bring back. So
Okay.
I said, and Twitter, you can only answer in so many words, right? Um, so this is actually a combination of two tweets back. I said I didn't think I had a type. I was really green and open to exploring human nature, so I didn't want to choose one kind. As long as a person was nice to me, I wasn't stuck on aesthetics. When I did date people because I thought they were cute, it was tragic. Over time, my type was based on building a life together. Can we travel together? Do we eat the same foods? Can you maintain friendships and familial bonds? My quality of life is important, and I just happen to bag a baddie that I could build a life with.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. That is like every time I actually went for, ooh, she's cute.
Hmm.
It just, well, not to saying those of you who are happily married or with someone that you just settled on the looks department. It's just that sometimes the people you are lusting after, it just always winds up in a bad situation. Whereas if you flip it and know what you want in a partner,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You get that, and they just so happen to be attractive.
Yeah.
Like the universe gives you like a perk. Like good for you, going for what you really need. Now here's some shit you know you want.
Absolutely. So if you all want to join in the laughs with us and all of the shenanigans, we're on Twitter every Wednesday, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Just come to your gay aunties. We talk about the latest episodes. We talk about anything that you want to talk about, really, because you asked for the question. So it's all about you. So follow us on Twitter at your gay aunties and use the hashtag Auntie Red's Tweet Tea so that you can get my attention.
All right, all right, all right. Well, girl, I mean, there's the elephant in the room, but how are you doing
Ho ho ho.
and being and feeling?
hmm So I talked about last week that I was kind of disconnected from a lot of the things that were going on because I had to end school. Like
Mm-hmm.
this was finals week last week. I had 6 classes, and of
Mm,
course, all 6 classes all turned into work on the last 2 days.
of course, of course. Because they have time just like us, so why not procrastinate?
Absolutely. And so I wanted to make sure that I met my deadline. And if I got sucked into that rabbit hole, I would not have been able to get anything done.
Mm,
So just took that personal time to get myself together. And then it was like I opened up my phone on Saturday and got kicked in the head. Like literally kicked in the head. I still haven't brought myself to like watch some of the videos.
mm.
But I did see one this morning of the I don't know if they're a couple, but a young brother and sister in Atlanta who were dragged out of their car because they were violating the curfew. Um, and so things like that really, that really gets me. And so I've been, on the phone all morning trying to make sure that they're okay and that they have the resources that they need. If they need counsel, we know lawyers in Atlanta, just making sure that they're good. My brother hit me back and said that actually the community has given them way more than they needed to be able to pay for their bail.
Thank
Um,
goodness.
and hopefully, the brother
Mm-hmm.
windows fixed because the police bust out his windows and slashed his tires and all kind of stuff. Um,
Slashed his tires.
Slashed tires, tased him, tased her. Like it's bizarre, absolutely bizarre. So, and if you've been a struggling college student, you don't have money for tires. Like, you don't have money to replace a window. And my son is a classmate of his as well. So just making sure that, they're good and they're covered. That was like waking up today. Like, um,
Well, I was disconnected in a way, but not by choice.
mm,
So, when things started to pop off a couple of so days ago, I, like many of my friends and many people, I was on Facebook sounding off because I'm not a big Twitter person. When I sound off, I like to sound off among friends. Yes,
mhm.
the echo chamber, whatever. But it's the way I
Yeah.
need to release. I ain't trying to change the world, but I need to write, and I need to make that writing public. And as I was writing, I said cracker. Well, to be clear, I said cracker ass cracker.
Mm.
And Facebook blocked me. They said you are out 24 hours. So in the state of denial, I tried to post again. And then Facebook said, you not only blocked for 24 hours, bitch, we found 2 other violations of you saying cracker. So now you're blocked for 3 days.
Mm.
So I am on the fence with my relationship with Facebook.
Yeah.
I know all of the ills that is Facebook, both emotionally, algorithmically, all of that. But it is a place that people, um, shit, my friends are not
Yeah.
strangers, and I like to converse with them. You know, I hear a phone. Okay.
Yep.
I like to I don't think she's on the phone. Okay. And converse with them, So, that being said, I'm before Facebook allows me back on, I'm evaluating my relationship with Facebook. But, And I'll talk about this later in my gem. I have been able to I just have to write regardless, whether if no one sees it or not. And so I'm using your gay aunties to kind of say some of the things I've been wanting to say around these recent reactions by
Yeah.
some people in our communities regarding George Floyd and all of those like him. But I'll say that for the gem for later. But I'm just trying to, other than that, just emotionally just keep it together. I would say we've been here before, and we have in many ways.
Mhm.
But this feels a little different, or it feels like it's a culmination of generations. I feel
Yeah.
like this generation, though, when I say this generation, as in the young people of this generation, this is a unique opportunity. Not only is it kind of showing all of the work done before that is allowing for the opportunity to even happen, but then you
Yes.
have your rah-rah time. All of us, when we were 20 something, had our rah-rah time where there was something
Yeah.
going on with us and we had to get in and hit them streets. But you guys have an opportunity.
Mhm.
Okay. So I really suggest that you talk with people who are experienced organizers. You talk to people who have been doing the work in our communities, like
Mhm.
taking their cues because they know what needs to be done. And I know the adrenaline is pumping, and sometimes you want to get out there and just yell,
Mhm.
which you should, and we all have the right to, but also there's an opportunity here. This doesn't feel like the same old we rah rah and then die down, rah rah and then die down.
Yeah.
So I can't really articulate what that opportunity is, but there are a lot of things floating around where we have an opportunity to approach this differently, to react to this differently, to actually make some sort of systemic change
Yeah.
in our local lives, in our
Yeah.
immediate lives. So just, sit and think about that in the midst of your justified anger. What does it look like on the other side of this?
Yeah, and for me, I understand that like my time in the streets was um oh my God, why did his name just leave my head? That was pulled out his car was beat. Rodney King.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that was my first time rallying
Mm-hmm.
in college. And then to Troy Davis and
Endless names.
Sandra Bland and right. So like for me, I was marching in all of those marches, right? I was out there and protesting in the streets and participating in all of those. At this point for me, I'm more than happy to pass the baton on that part. And for me, being in the background, strategizing, providing resources, like making sure that young people can do what young people should be doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm totally checking myself on that part and being prepared to do the next part of the work. So I'm here in the DC area. Can I go and connect with lobbyists? Like, can I, work with young people on making sure that we have representation? Like, all of those things are now like where I am, and so I applaud the young people who are in the streets. I totally understand that
Mm-hmm.
experience and that expression, um, and we'll pick up the other side.
Word. And I just want to leave on one last note because this is something that I've really been thinking about and with my ancestors during this time.
Mhm.
And, one of the opportunities we have is for a serious rush of our young people running for office. And I say that, and when you
Yeah.
say, and when some of you may hem hum that, oh, the systems don't work, yada, 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 I want to, I want you to reflect. If you think this is hard, guess what was harder? Slavery. Okay?
Mm.
And what is the first thing, or one of the first things our people did when they were free? They
Mhm.
ran for office. And they won before they even got the right to vote. You
Yeah.
think about that shit. And through Reconstruction, that's what we got public schools. We got so
Mhm.
many things we take for granted now. These were
Yeah.
the ideas of Negroes,
Mhm.
okay, who knew that where the power was at the time. Okay, that is still the case. Don't let these corrupted politicians corrupt the idea of public service.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
we need to bum rush the show, like PE used to say. If you don't know the song. All right, so we'll leave it there. I have more to say when we do our gems, but we love you. Your aunties love you. If you are out in the streets, please be safe. And
Yeah.
the same rule applies like your mama and your daddy told you when you go out and play with the little white people. You know, you are not seeing like little Jacob. Okay, so please be careful out there and don't let them people put them hands on your hands on our babies. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I do want to put a
Mm-hmm.
point on is a couple of things. One, I have people who are on the streets right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that piles of bricks have been appearing out of nowhere in particular areas around Atlanta. These are, my connection is in Atlanta. And so on certain corners in the city, just piles of bricks have been showing up. Loose bricks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this tells me that this is not just our organization that is just getting out of control and black people are just rioting and
Certainly is
destroying. Like
not.
there are many things that are happening. And so I want you all to pay attention to that. Um, Also, we have a comment on the live. It says, I think too, it has a lot to do with there being more awareness because of social media
Mm.
on what's going on and more actual evidence because of technology, using phones and cameras to make others aware. And so, you know, I know that there was a conversation around a young woman who filmed George Floyd's murder. And she had an opportunity to speak out and say, well, no one else was filming it.
Mm-hmm. And
Right?
and
And we wouldn't know what was happening. So yes,
mm-hmm.
help, yes, get involved, but because people are there in the streets and people are able to show and broadcast what's happening, that's another layer that's adding to the world seeing us because London was obeying their pandemic guidelines and now they are in the streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
South Africa is in the streets, Ireland is in the
France is in
streets,
the
France
streets.
is in the
I've got
streets,
some
right?
friends in
Other
France today.
countries are seeing what is happening because of this technology that's out and it's allowing the world to see how black people are treated in America.
Mm-hmm.
And
And our
so all of this is
wounds,
a
our
part
dirty
of it.
laundry just flowing in the wind as it should.
Absolutely. And I am I have not been down there and I will repeat that again. But I know that our brothers and sisters here in DC are on the lawn and that they have, gone to the White House as they should. As 2 weeks ago, those who were protesting not being able to get haircuts and get manicures were storming their capitals in different places. Like things are moving, things are happening, and people are not just going to be able to go back to ignoring it and just allowing it to happen. Systematically, things need to change.
Yes, and you're pointing out, you know, this is on the top of a pandemic, on top of people being out of work, on top of people being cooped up in the house, on top of people being generally stressed about what tomorrow is going to look like, and that is the perfect storm for actual change.
Yeah,
And it's not just a fleeting wave or of anger.
yeah,
So, you know, yeah. I'm
absolutely.
sorry. I also want to give our this podcast collective condolences and to of rest in power to Tony Dade, a trans man
Mm,
who was killed by Tallahassee, Florida police.
yeah,
Um, Thus another highlight of black trans double consciousness. A friend of mine on Facebook, Merrick Moses, who's a trans man, was talking about the double consciousness of both being a black man and being a black trans man. So we're taking a moment to know how others have to navigate the world and the shit that they have to navigate because of who they are and
yeah,
choose to
I
walk in the
say.
world. You know, and Tony was being misgendered through the entire experience.
Mm,
Okay,
okay.
so okay, let's move on, children.
Yes.
All right, let's
Well,
go into
in the
to
vein of that, I
yeah.
just want to kind of dig into my bag of gems.
All right, let's go into the bag of gems. Let's make it happen.
And in appreciation of Tony McDade, in appreciation of those um who show up in the world in the way that celebrates who they are in the inside and show it on the outside. We decided to make June our masculine appreciation month in all the ways that shows up. And yeah, so June is our oh boy appreciation. And I wanted to share something that I wrote. It's like one of my really, really early pieces back
Oh.
when I was in Chicago in Powwow. Um, my mama, Cece Carter, has a series of poems um, called Dear Femme, Dear Butch, and Dear Just You, right?
I like that, dear. Just you. Wonderful.
And they're love letters
Mm.
to people who show up as they are. And so this was my love letter in that series, and it's just called Thank You.
This is so cute. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hold on.
And I
Raising
never
my,
really, this is
raising my
from
tongue.
like my old book. This was my tour book, so it's all scratched up and written on and everything. um so I want to thank you for making this easier for me. I see you walking with your masculine ways, and I appreciate all of the fights you had to fight in order to be able to walk so smoothly. I love you because they call you stud, butch, aggressive, dyke, and every knock is a boost, bringing you closer to me. I want to thank you for making this easier for me.
Mm.
Because you wear your sexuality on the outside, there is no question in their minds when they see you. When they see me, most of the times they would never suspect. Even when I tell them, they are always so shocked, and responses are like, "But you're so pretty. You could have any man you wanted." Not understanding that all I wanted was you. Not understanding that your beauty is the one that intrigues me, not understanding that your delicate balance between masculine and feminine is what keeps me coming back, keeps me wanting more. I want to thank you for making this easier for me,
Mm.
so that when people ask me, am I a lesbian? I think of you and all the struggles you had to endure, all the rude comments, all the stares from men who wish they could be you.
Mm.
I think of you and all it took for you to just be who you are, and I am proud to say yes. So I want to thank you for making this easier for me. Because even though I am one of those girls who could pass, why would I? I love being a lesbian because I love you with your sports bra, loose pants, boxer shorts, oversized shirt, and comfortable shoes. I willingly walk through this fire with you in my stiletto heels, push up bra, and red lipstick. For all that you have done for yourself, you have also done for me, and I want to thank you for making this easier for me.
Oh. No, that was beautiful.
Aw, I'm just so excited that we're doing this month, and I'm just so happy to celebrate all of our masculine identified family.
Hmm. And if that poem like resonated with you all, and you have someone in your life whose presence has given you so much joy, whether your eyes giving your eyes joy or giving your heart joy or your mind joy, and they are of the masculine queer persuasion, tag us on our IG, tag them rather on our IG. There's a post there that says "Oh boy, Pride contest," and that tag is a nomination, and whoever wins gets to come on your gay aunties at the
Yeah.
end of the month, so you can see her or his or their sexy self
Absolutely.
on the show. Wow, that was really beautiful, Red. As someone on the masculine side of things, I appreciated it because it was like listening, I imagine myself walking down the street with my femme partner and what goes through her head, how she navigates, how she sees me in context of her and us in the world. And
Mm-hmm.
those thoughts is, I know me, you know, that's a prerequisite to even be my partner, to have a sense of feeling like you are my complement in more ways than one. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I
Yeah.
mean, we're here to support each other and walk together. So thank you, sis. That was dope. That was
Yes.
dope. Um,
What's in your bag?
my bag is one of the rants I wanted to go on before Facebook shut me down.
Mm.
That I was
Okay.
noticing when I was watching news footage and noticing an awful lot of, let's call them brothers and sisters of a lighter shade in our communities, quote unquote, protesting. And it reminded me of a story. And then I realized what was happening, but it then quickly reminded me of something that happened to me years back at a protest. Is a story I really love to tell. And so I wanted to share it. And it's a story of protest, of magic, of art, of humanity, and of anarchy, and how that can bring all that is beautiful down. Okay?
Mm. Okay.
Bear with me, children. Though it is a rant, I did write it down to keep Auntie Hanifa on track. This is a magical, darn near unbelievable, but very true story, at least to the best of your Auntie Hanifa's memory. Let's go back to a time less crappy than this one. It's December in the year of Princess 1999. Y2K was looming, and all those born before 2000 awaited the new millennia with all the projected childhood fantasy and anticipation. This is also the time when the WTO, World Trade Organization, an international organization that regulates, if not defines, capitalism without any input from the people, were having an annual convention in Seattle, Washington. I had just moved to California, foolishly following my girlfriend at the time, only to break up 2 weeks later. But this was only day 5 into my move, and I was encouraged by this same doomed relationship to join her in a dance troupe in Seattle for the
Mm.
big protest. Now, look, your Auntie Hanifa is not that bitch. I don't do protests. Well, I don't march. I got bad feet, but I can create some art for that fight. Nonetheless, I was in love, and love carried my ass and my feet to Seattle. And being the romantic that I am, it's only love and, well, house music that will get me to stomp my feet for hours for the cause. But before 1999, my protest experience was limited to a couple of marches in high school. Well, in New York, we were fighting our local brand of crazy crackers or police violence. So I really didn't know what to expect. Our dance troupe and musicians from Oakland arrived in Seattle early the morning of the protest. With coffee in hand, we reported to a warehouse where people were being organized, trained, and puppets were being made. Yes, you heard me. Puppets! This march would consist of 20 to 50-foot puppets, dance troupes, and performers. This protest was a parade. I had not seen anything like it, and before the day was over, I would not have experienced anything like it. An armada of people from all around the world gathered to fight the evils of capitalism with our art, sarcastic puppets, and our numbers. Tens of thousands of people were split up into committees, and the city of Seattle was split up into designated corners that surrounded the WTO conference. Some were there to perform, like my crew. Some were there to get arrested. Some were there to converse with WTO delegates. Some were prepared to be tear gassed, which they were, and the rest were there to create a moment, a collective voice, a voice that needed the power of everyone to back it. This had to have been the best diverse protest ever, because capitalism affects everyone, and the WTO that year would be making decisions that affect us to this day. So everyone meant everyone. On one corner, you had migrant workers. On the other, save the sea turtles people. and around and around early afternoon, on the horizon, you heard the roar of 1,000 motorbikes of steel workers coming together to lock arms with meat packers, poverty-focused organizations, and 50-foot puppets. As we made our way to our corner, beating our drums, I heard house music in the distance. No matter what our designated mission was, this protest felt like pick your own adventure. A white van was blasting Frankie Knuckles, and the lone microphone was standing there calling my name, so I grabbed it, and no one stopped me. At this point, filled with color and joy and purpose, I freestyled a house tune about wanting the sun to pierce through the Seattle gray for this day. And shit you not, by the second refrain, the sun hit our parading faces. And I wasn't the only one who noticed the correlation between my lyrics, the rise in the music, and the sun. The crowd roared. I dropped the mic and danced on my already worn feet, but I didn't feel a thing. We felt everything. An hour later, we had made it to our designated intersection. My girlfriend and her dance troupe had somehow chained themselves to a pop-up stage and choreographed a piece that incorporated the chains. God bless dancers. They always make it happen by any means necessary. About 700 to 1,000 people had occupied that one intersection. The day was going exactly as planned. I hadn't even noticed the sun beginning to slowly set. During the dance performance, I was sitting next to a white girl from Philly. I forgot her name. I just remember she was from Philly. We were positioned in front of the Nike building in downtown Seattle. We both were so filled with a sense of purpose and, achievement. But as she was telling me all she had done during the day that led her to this corner, I noticed another white girl. We'll just call her Chrissy. Unlike Karens of today, Chrissy loves adventure and gets off by urban chaos porn. Having been raised in the suburbs where she wasn't allowed to go crazy enough and just kept the porn hidden from mommy and daddy, Chrissy longed to go to the city and create chaos to fight the oppressive structure of privilege. So Chrissy climbed to the front of the Nike building, finally making it up to the logo that hovered over the front door. At first I was like, okay, Chrissy. Chrissy is juiced up on some adrenaline. What's she gonna do? Dance on top of the Nike sound? Go, Chrissy. It's a protest. But then I heard a sound so familiar to my New York upbringing, but it felt out of place. It was the rattle of a spray can. It was coming from Chrissy. She was getting ready to graffiti the logo. That rattle sounded was that the rattle sound prefaced one of the more bizarre and deeply spiritual moments I would have in my young life. Are you ready for it? Now, I could give two shits about Nike or their property, but I did care about what had been created up to that point, and that the rattle of her paint can was not in step with it. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't reach her with my hands to drag her ass down, and I was too filled with love to yoke her up proper, even if I could. So all I could do was stand up, outstretch my arms, and scream, no! Out of nowhere, my no became an ohm. The white girl from Philly quickly joined in. Within seconds, the rest of the crowd saw what was happening and without prompt got up, pointed at Chrissy and ohmed for what seemed like forever. The dancers stopped and ohmed. The white girl, 2 letters into spraying fuck, stopped, turned around, widened her eyes, and absolutely froze. She was witnessing close to 1,000 people looking up at her from the street in the wave of oh. She slowly put her spray can away and climbed down. She seemed confused with what was happening and her surprising reaction to it. She shamefully descended down from the Nike store. Me and the white girl from Philly just looked at each other. We all looked at each other and was like, what the fuck did we just do? The dancers finished their routine in a spiritually heightened state, and we sat with our newly discovered power of our humanity. And then, just minutes later, in the same intersection across from the Nike building, a small band of cops started to get into it with protesters. And just like that, like someone just called in the Super Friends, the crowd jumped up again with outstretched hands towards the scuffle, and like the Green Lantern shot a wave of "Om" with everything we had at them fucking cops. I shit you not again. These cops stopped, looked around, and either by sheer confusion or the unyielding vibration of our collective human voices, felt overpowered. It was like
Wow.
their arms lost the stretch to push or shove, strength to push or shove. Even the protesters they were scuffling with knew they would have a story to tell about how an ohm prevented them from going to jail. After our second ohm mission, I understood the power of human intent and voice like I had never understood it before. Was this a mostly untapped power that could be used in modern day protests? I then theorized. I'm sure it wasn't the first. The sun was almost fully set, but we soon learned Chrissy did not come alone. As we were unchaining the dancers and packing up, I heard a bang, then a crash. Then minutes later, my eyes began to sting. Another protester was running around screaming, "The anarchists are here! The anarchists are here!" Like she's fucking Paul Revere in tears. And just as mysteriously as we were surrounded with the power of Om, the puppets were chased away, the music stopped playing, the conversations dispersed, and the glass started shattering. Our crew made a decision to get out of there. What took a day to create, anarchists had ruined in less than an hour. I started to see plumes of smoke as cars started to burn as we ran back to ours. My inexperience with protest did not prepare me for the spiritual uprising I had been a part of that day, and it didn't prepare me for how all of that would not matter in the end. In the end, what the news covered is what the anarchists live for: chaos, destruction, and white supremacy. You heard me. The rest of the world would never know what really happened that day. And what you don't know, you cannot build on. White supremacists do not just wear hoods. They wear the veil of entitlement and freedom. Anarchists who are mostly white or mostly white identified people of color, I said it, who are oblivious that the scorched earth they leave behind, much like their ancestors, either directly or trickles down to affect the poor and marginalized. Blowing up cars and breaking windows is just a trope found in your poverty porn collection under your suburban bed. You don't want to fight any power structures. You want to exercise the limitations of your own. You are not a threat. You are a nuisance. You do not care about the state of the world. You just care about your awkward unease within a privilege you didn't ask for, but were trained to exercise regardless. Whether it is a disregard for the consequences of your actions or how they affect not only progress, but the everyday lives and spirits of the people who live and work in the neighborhoods you destroy, or later, manner, many of you in 1999 probably now have kids, a dog, and a phone to call the same cops that you threw Molotov cocktails at. Come see about this nigga exercising in your building gym. Looking at footage of the recent protests nationwide, I saw you, Chrissy and Jake. I noticed the first night as the skateboards were illuminated in silhouette in front of the Minnesota's burning buildings. I noticed the laughter, smiles, and absolute glee on the white faces dispersed throughout the crowd. They aren't here to mourn and share in a collective grief felt by my people. They are here for a good time in the city. They are here to have fun in their newly found political stance that says no patience for imagining and building something new, so just burn it all down to only later fear it when you yourself own property and are fully invested in your whiteness. Flippantly writing off your foolish days, these two are on the necks of Black existence. So I say, to all the anarchists disrupting the culture of protest designed and exercised by peoples of color since your chalky ancestors stepped foot on this rock, fuck you. You are the part of our generational pain. You are the answer to no one's suffering. And to those who actually live in the urban communities of Minnesota, Philly, LA, Brooklyn, Nevada, Arkansas, Arizona, Miami, Louisville, Baltimore, you know who is who in your neighborhood. Gather your collective power, ready your sealy fingers, outstretch them, and find your own to essentially whoop Chrissy and Jacob's narrow ass back to Main Street, USA with their skateboards in between their legs. Protests are our right as citizens. It's a tool, an exercise of voice, intent to release history and change for those who seek it, not those who wish to fondle it and leave the rest of us to live with the scars of your molestation. And lastly, today, Black students from HBCUs here in Atlanta were assaulted for protesting peacefully after 2 nights of anarchists, mostly likely not from Atlanta, setting fires and breaking windows. In the end, we are who are considered the thugs, regardless of who is breaking the windows or graffitiing fuck on police cars. It is we who are more accessible than you to be picked out, assaulted, and arrested and put in the prison pipeline. It is we whose lives are endangered, whose neighborhoods are further ruined. And it is you who will look on all of this some years from now with a beer in hand, laughing with your bros in some bar in a gentrified neighborhood and simply saying, ha ha, remember those crazy days, Ed? Thank you, y'all. I know it's a bit long, but I had to get off my chest. Blame Facebook.
That is amazing. But it just shows how connected like all of these experiences are, even over time.
Mm-hmm. 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 And because, you know, we a lot of times generations drop the ball and don't the batons we pass are not enough lessons or the mistakes we made, and I'm actually
Mm,
talking to white folks who can consider themselves liberals who are of a certain age. These are your kids out there
yeah.
acting a fucking fool. Okay, and maybe you thought you were making them good liberal white kids by teaching them about the wrongs of the world, but some lessons would you drop the ball. They need to
Hmm.
know their limitations within their privilege. That you just can't go out and raise hell in other people's neighborhoods. Because it's those
Yeah.
other people who are accused of doing that. And those other people have to literally clean up the mess. Like literally clean up the mess. Which the news doesn't show you the people actually go out afterwards who live in the neighborhoods
Hmm.
and they're cleaning up your shit.
Yeah. I saw a video yesterday of a sister who had to stop two white girls from spray painting Black Lives Matter on a building. And she was like, we didn't ask you to do this. Like,
Mm.
stop. Like, we're going to get blamed for this. Like, we're peacefully protesting. We haven't had any, like, nobody asked you to do this. Like, you are showing your privilege by deciding what we need in our protest. Stop. And then they argued with her. Like they are arguing back and forth with her about their actions and her
And
telling,
representing us.
yeah,
Okay.
and writing Black Lives Matter all over the windows on the Starbucks.
Listen, the other evening, Clinton Hill was on fire. So down around downtown Brooklyn, like shit was on
Hmm.
fire, right?
Yeah.
My homegirl said she went out the next day, right? And she said there was a van that was on fire. She saw on the news. She's like, shit, that's down the block, right? So the next day she went out, she saw the van. It was all burnt out. It had BLM on it.
Hmm.
That's like, she's looking at it. She's like, oh my God. And she said that this white boy came up to her and was like, wow, isn't that beautiful? And she's like, excuse me?
Wow.
No, there's nothing beautiful about a burnt out van on my motherfucking block with BLM on it. What are you
Hmm.
looking at? So you understand
That
that
was probably his work.
I'm saying he probably considers himself an artiste.
Hmm.
Okay. So all of y'all artistes, all you white leftists or far left, I don't want to say leftists, that sounds a little kind of, but and or identify as anarchists. If you need to blow shit up, you need to get some shit off your chest as if you fucking had it on anyway. What you got on your chest? Some guilt? Your mama's
Mm.
guilt, your daddy's guilt. What you got on your chest, motherfucker? You got to get off when you are blowing up shit and burning people's property.
And the other part of it is that there's a mixture in this
Oh
audience, right?
yes, of
There are
course.
also people who are there to start a race war,
Yes.
right? There are
Mm,
people who are there to keep this instigated to make sure that Black people continue to be criminalized, right? So because it's sad if you see um, people who are, you know, if you see white people who are at the protest with you, you hope that they are there because they stand in solidarity with you. You hope that they are there because they see themselves as allies. But it is so unfortunate that we can't trust that either.
mm, mm. Whew. All right. With that being said, I think it's time for a motherfucking break. How about that? I need a break.
I'm looking at the time. I'm like, we ain't gonna
Uh.
get no letter today.
All right. So that break at yeah. We try and keep it to an hour, y'all. We got kids to take care of and things like that. So, um, damn, how long was that damn my gym? My gym was something up in like a South African diamond mine. Like, how big was the gym? Like, I thought I timed it. Oops.
It was amazing. I
Mm.
don't think that we should change a thing. Like it was timely, if nothing else. Definitely needed.
All right, then let's just say the things that we need to say that we want to just let you guys know what's going on and what to look forward to, and then we'll call it an episode. All right.
Yeah. So we are still moving forward with uh, the financial support. Maybe we can discuss
Oh,
that a little bit of
oh,
the
all
things
right.
that we're doing.
Sure enough, sure enough. All right, sure enough. So check it out, y'all. So for the past month, we have been doing lights on. So we've been trying to develop new ways to support queer presence and content in your life. So last month, we introduced lights on, and over the month, we realized how it can be improved, how we can actually do this better. It kind of was like an experiment. So we switched it up a little bit, right? It will continue to be a means to spotlight amazing queer podcasts out there. But we are using Pride Month to relaunch Lights On. Did I say lights out before? Lights on. I said lights out before.
On.
Lights on. Keeping the lights on your favorite independent queer podcast. We have partnered with one of the nominated podcasts and our friends Queer Walk Pod. So for the month of June, ourselves in Queer Rock Pie, we're going to do like episode swaps on each other's show, and to better spread your dollar, all the money collected via June will go to support the lights on for Queer Rock and your gay aunties. But keep nominating your favorite podcast because come the end of the month, we'll partner with another queer podcast to do the exact same thing for July. So go to patreon.com/your gay aunties to find out more and donate to Lights On at patreon.com/your gay aunties.
Yes. Absolutely. And we know that this month is, again, our Masculine Identified Appreciation Month. And
Woo!
so we want to make sure that you all are using the hashtag oh boy. You are nominating your beautiful masculine person in your life. You are sharing them with us every week. We will share with you the ones that you all have nominated. Vote, and then whoever is selected, like the winner from the contest, will be our guest for Sunday brunch. So the last Sunday of the month, we will have that person on to interview them and talk to them about their
They
sexy
sexiness.
stud life and all of the reasons why the people love them so. So this is another opportunity that we have for you all to share in this experience with us. Tell us who you love. Tell us why you love them, and we can share that love with everyone.
Say word, say word. And again, be safe out there, y'all. Your anger is justified, but it's also an opportunity to learn how to express it in varied ways that actually can help and effect and protect your people for for when this initial wave of madness is over. And with that being said, my name is Hanifa Walida,
And I am Red Summer.
and we are your gay aunties. Love y'all.
Bye, babies.
Bye, darlings.